Right then, one of the reasons why the prose and poetic eddas are so difficult to read would be the presence of kennings in the speech, especially in the poetic. And what a kenning is basically saying something in a more complicated manner. Substituting a given noun for a compound, usually hyphenated noun, that alludes to it through previously known things that you should have picked up from other myths and things like that. Now, they range from the relatively simple, like saying, feeder of ravens. Ravens eat carcass, apparently, to the Norse, and so a feeder of ravens would be a warrior, implying that he's going to die in the field of battle. Then they get more complicated, because you can have, like, compound, where, for instance, feeder of war gulls, war gull meaning like a seagull, but for war, you know? So that would again be a raven, and feeder of ravens means warrior. Now, they get absolutely obscenely complicated, and there are up to 9 chain words of very, complex origin, often sounding entirely contradictory to say very simple things: warrior, gold, fire, and they do this frequently throughout all of the Norse myth because that was the style of the time, but it doesn't stop it from being any less frustrating to read. And some of the worst ones are just the sheer number of ways that you can say a specific thing. I can't even name the 20-odd ways that they talk about gold in one story. And to understand what all that means while you're reading it takes a depth of knowledge that you can only get through needless repetition. Which is why I feel terribly sorry for the translators of these books, because in order to really understand the Norse myth, you need to read all of it without understanding any of it first, and just kind of piece things together until you realize the connections between the kennings and their actual meanings, because they'll reference the things that haven't even happened, or talk about people that you don't necessarily know about. A sword might be Heimdall's head, Heimdall being one of the gods of war, but if you don't know that, Heimdall's head might just seem like a head. And because of that, it's extremely difficult to read, even though it is extremely interesting. Which is why, to anybody that actually wants to read about the Norse myth, just because some of the stories are genuinely fascinating, funny, interesting, and do have lots of really subtle overtones of Greco-Roman mythology and Christian ideology that really allow you to see how those influences changed the beliefs of the Norse hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But for those people that would like to read up on that, I would wholeheartedly recommend that you look into a different set of books than the Eddas, because the Eddas are complicated in that they are the closest thing to a direct source, which is why there's so much need for explanation and conjecturing in them, because nobody has taken the liberty to put it in simpler language, because all of it is retained. And the only people that is really useful for is like historical scholars who need to know about that stuff for a wide range of reasons, or academic teamers who need to know it because it gets them points, which is the reason why I'm reading it. And there's really no other motivation to put yourself through the pain of figuring it out unless you have to. So I don't have any of the other book titles offhand for better versions to read, but there are plenty out there. I know there's at least a few in our school's library system because I've done previous reports on the Norse. And feel free to look those up if you think that the other myths that I'm going to be reporting on in future videos are interesting. And I'm going to put them up on YouTube so you can watch them along the course. You might be watching this on YouTube, whatever, because this is the only one that I'm going to have time to show in class. Great. And assuming that I can, get them to upload because the file sizes are big and whatever. Anyway, hope you enjoy the video. Hope you go and see the others. Have a wonderful day.